Alright, today on the table I have a Colt match target. This happened to come into the shop and I thought I'd put it in front of the camera for you. This way, if you happen to be thinking about getting one of these, you got a rough idea of what to expect. We'll start from the front and work our way back. This does not have a threaded barrel. This is not an end cap. You cannot put a brake on here. You would have to send it in and get it threaded. On the barrel it's stamped CMP, 5.56 NATO, 1/7 twist, H-bar. Going back to the gas block, you notice there's no bayonet lug. That was chopped off. On the gas block, it's got S, some weird symbol, and the number 4. As you come back, you'll see handguards. They're blacker than normal production. I'll roll in some difference in photos. Also, the metal heat shield underneath is black in color. Inside, you'll notice there's not M4 feed ramps. You'll see the block in the receiver. It's also got the pin that goes through the side. This does have M16 cuts in the upper receiver. The upper receiver is marked CMB. You got a 8.3 on the elevation. The carrier is stamped with a C. The bolt itself is stamped MP. You do have a chrome line barrel. The lower receiver, the fontanet looks great, nice stamping. It's not all faded like on some of the newer ones. The buttstock, the metal clip back here is actually metal, which is kind of nice. All the newer stuff, they're plastic and they have a tendency to break. You do have your dual aperture, 0 to 200 meters, then 300 meters. Then you can dial up, go from 3 to 4 to 5, 6, 7, all the way to 8. Is that realistic? I don't know. Now when I picked up this rifle, it did come with magazines. I don't know if these were the magazines sold with the rifle, but these are of the non-anti-tilt variety. They will tilt on you. I don't see a manufacturer on them anywhere. On the bottom, it does have a part number, 8448674. Standard A2 pistol grip. Relatively speaking, this rifle, I don't think it was used very much. I think somebody had bought it, threw it into the collection, and just left it. There is damage on it, though. On your shell deflector, looks like they were sliding it into a car or something banged on it. And then they use those stupid little scope mounts because there's the markings on the bottom that a scope was mounted on here. Trigger brake, mil spec all the way. Now it says target match on it. Or is it match target? Match target. We'll probably take this out tomorrow and see how well that actually stacks up against, like, say, the Black 13, which I actually made this a target rifle. See what kind of accuracy we're going to get. So overall, if you're looking at one of these rifles, they are put together nice. This is a good rifle. However, this is the full cuckold version. So, like I said, you got the block right here in the lower receiver. It is not an M16 bolt carrier. They just shaved off the bottom. And you're missing your bayonet lug. That has been shaved off, and the barrel is also not threaded. These are collector, obviously, because it says Colt on it. However, this is one of the least desirable collectible Colt rifles I know of. Maybe there's some other worse rifle out there, but to the best of my knowledge, if there's any one Colt rifle you don't want to buy, it's this one. However, that does make it affordable. So your average Joe can pick these up. They typically go for just over $1,000. In like perfect condition, you'll get them at like 12 or 13, but typically they're cheaper than that. which is kind of nice. So you could buy a rifle like this, and if you're willing to put in the work, you can just replace this front end in the carrier, and you have a relatively decent rifle. Is that stuff necessary? No. You can shoot it exactly the way it is, but it just doesn't look America enough. I would change those parts out if this was mine. That or I'd send it to a machinist and just have the barrel threaded and then put on a flash hider. All options you could do. So, would I purchase this rifle? No, it's actually going up for sale as soon as I'm done making videos with it. But if I did absolutely want a Colt and I didn't have $2 grand, $3,000, and I wanted something older looking, this isn't a bad option because it gets your foot in the door into the Colt industry, into the collector industry, without dropping those really, really high dollar amounts. So, I mean, there is pros and cons. I mean, it's nice they made something like this way there is cheaper rifles on the market. And if you were to get one with just those couple of extra things like a flash hider and something like that, now you're getting up to closer to the $2,000 mark. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Checked it out. I couldn't date this for some reason. I couldn't figure out what the serial number dated to. I posted the serial number right there, so somebody in the comments can figure out how to date it, and then I'll just pin it to the top of the comments. But the serial number is C Charlie M Mike H Honcho 008607. It'd be kind of nice to know when the date is. Yeah, by looking at it, I'd like to say, oh, well, this is obvious. This is somewhere between 1994 and 2004. But Colt, they knew the ban was coming, and instead of lobbying against it or telling people, what they decided to do was just make a bunch of ban-compliant rifles so they were ahead of the curve, so they could have a monopoly, because Colt has never cared about the civilian market ever. They've always been just focused on themselves. And it's possible that, you know, even after the ban, because even after the ban lifted, the LE model numbers, we weren't able to get those right away. There had to be a bunch of, what would you call it? Rifle laundering going on. They would basically come from Canada into a dealer, but they still weren't authorized for civilian sales, so it would have to be a dealer that's an 07, but because the law was lifted, so they could technically sell it to dealers, but Colt didn't update their game yet, it'd have to go to like an 07 to where somebody could sell it to a cop, but then from an 07 it would go into the civilian market. Really, really weird. So it's very possible this was even made after 2004, because like I said, it took them a while to get back on the train and start making awesome American rifles for us. Again, there's the serial number. Please post the date and I will pin it at the top of the comments. But I appreciate you checking out my video. If you'd like to help support the channel, I got my Patreon right there. I also have affiliate links in the description down below. Just by clicking on those links and doing the Amazon shopping you're going to do anyway, I had a little kickback for it because you came there off my channel. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.